And yet now she's doing a podcast, which we are only listening to. By the way, we're not listening to it.
Right.
Because she's former first lady.
Right.
No one listens to a former lawyer from, I think it was Jenner and Block, do a podcast with her brother on her thoughts on relationships. We're doing it because he made you first lady, but she does not have a kind word for him. It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. I can't think of her sitting there just waxing poetic about him, complimenting, he's brilliant, he's a great dad, he was the greatest president, whatever a normal wife of Barack Obama would say. Every time she opines, it's something that reflects poorly on him, how he's insensitive, how he's not a talker, how he doesn't know how to relate to people, he doesn't keep the same schedule as she does, and now we're talking about you can have a bad decade in America.
Michelle Obama just got hit with some tough words from Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters, and let's just say it wasn't a relaxing day. One moment she's selling juice and staying out of politics, the next she's getting called out on live TV. Megyn brought the heat, Jesse didn't hold back, and Michelle came with more excuses. If you thought her Netflix deals were dramatic, just wait until you see this. It's sharp, it's bold, and it's a takedown she didn't see coming. Let's dive into the chaos.
Michelle Obama, coincidentally, is reappearing, hitting the airwaves to push her new book and tell us how awful America's become.
A lot has happened. We've seen a global pandemic. We've seen an insurrection, a rising tide of hate and bigotry and intolerance, and a whole lot more. I've spoken to a lot of loved ones, many of you, about what we all seem to be facing. And what has resulted from that process is actually
Michelle Obama isn't just a former first lady. She's turned herself into a full-on brand. She's like the face of healthy eating, fitness, and eye rolls. She didn't just leave the White House. She spread into every corner of media. The only thing left is a TikTok dance, and don't worry. That might be next. Maybe even with Lizzo while sipping expensive juice from her own health drink line.
When you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for herself. She is criticizing Barack Obama or this country. She never has a positive word to say about anything.
Let's talk about her brand. Nothing says regular American woman like a millionaire worried about which company gets to film her podcast about not talking about politics. It's like she's trying to stay quiet while writing books, doing interviews, and going on stadium tours. She keeps saying she's private, but does a very public job of it. It's like someone claiming Bigfoot hates attention while signing sneaker deals and doing press interviews in the woods.
Michelle Obama's letting loose. Too loose. Her new podcast sounds like a confession. First, she said she forced Barack to stop playing basketball. Then she said she wasn't really into him at first. And now she's telling the world they go to couples counseling. Oh, and the White House traumatized her.
You know, I like you, I have believed in therapy my whole life. You know, done couples therapy with my husband.
Then Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters step in, full of sarcasm. Megyn, who's made a career out of pointing out double standards, only needed one look at Michelle's latest media tour before going in. You know Michelle's team was stressed. You could almost hear them rushing to rewrite press releases. Megyn didn't even need to get mean. She just pointed out how odd it is. Michelle saying she hates politics right after promoting a new campaign to save democracy with her special healthy granola. It's like a firefighter saying they're scared of fire while holding a flamethrower. Just admit it, you love the spotlight, as long as the lighting is good.
But Michelle wants you to remember it wasn't the Obama-Biden White House. It was the Barack and Michelle White House. Listen to how she uses the words we.
I'm so proud of my husband. The way he led, the way his administration worked, the team that we built. So proud of everyone. I think that's because of who we are.
Did she just forget to mention Joe Biden?
And then there's Jesse Waters. He jumped into this like it was his favorite holiday, and Michelle handed him the perfect gift, a big box of contradictions. Jesse doesn't need deep research. He just points out how ridiculous things sound, with that smirk like, I can't believe this is my job. He tore into the idea that Michelle doesn't want to run for office, comparing it to a Kardashian saying they're tired of cameras. while filming another season in 4K. Michelle's whole brand now is "I'm just like you," as long as you ignore the fancy house, the security team, and the millions from her podcast deals. She wants to be seen as an everyday woman, while designing luxury wellness retreats in Bali and giving speeches to CEOs. Totally normal. Not campaigning at all. Nope, just being real.
She dropped this podcast to distance herself from Barack so she could run for president. Every politician starts a podcast right before they launch their next campaign. Looking at you, Gavin. And it turns out Michelle wasn't the only one who had problems with Barack when he was in office. Michelle says the kids were embarrassed too.
Every year we'd have the turkey pardoning. And that was the one thing that the girls would do at Barack, was to go stand next to him when he pardoned this turkey.
Yes.
And it was cute when they were little, but as they got older, you could see on their faces in the shots of them thinking, I would just poke my eyes out. Just right now, just get me out of here. I'm standing with my father telling these stupid jokes.
Let's talk about her books, because yes, there's more than one. At this point, if Michelle sneezes, someone offers her a huge book deal to talk about how it felt. Her first book was like a feel-good movie wrapped in importance, and it sold like crazy. Just when we thought she was done sharing her story, boom, another book comes out, like a sequel no one asked for. Imagine Break-In 2, Electric Boogaloo, but with more garden talk and dramatic stories about wearing sleeveless dresses. And don't forget her Netflix shows. She's done reality TV, kids shows with puppets, and maybe even backup dancing, if you look hard enough. Somehow, reading her journal turned into a giant, emotional Emmy-winning production, complete with music, lights, fog machines, and crowds yelling "Queen," while she talks about how hard politics was for her. Touching, really.
I'm very ready to talk Michelle Obama.
Oh, good. She's still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here. Here's one from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got like 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it, and that's still all she's managed to get.
Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly is watching all this with the face of someone who was just served a lecture disguised as a salad. She doesn't buy it, and she's not pretending to. She calls it what it is, acting like you're humble while doing the exact opposite. Michelle talks about being down-to-earth, but she's on stage with Oprah, charging hundreds of dollars for people to hear her quiet reflections, because nothing says humble like needing giant screens just so the crowd in the back can feel close to you. And Jesse. He's not angry, just amused. He watches Michelle say she's not political, then drops little hints and messages on every hot topic. He just leans back and goes, "Sure, Michelle, you're just helping kids eat spinach." No hidden message here. Totally neutral lettuce.
I've been wondering where Michelle Obama's been. She snubbed both Jimmy Carter's funeral and Trump's inauguration. And last week, Barack went to a basketball game all by himself. Turns out Michelle's been busy working on a new podcast, and so far, it's been a flop. The first 2 episodes have been up all day and only gotten a few thousand views on YouTube. Half of them were probably primetime producers. But still, Michelle's spilling the family secrets, like how Barry gets on her nerves. Listen.
Barack, he had to adjust to what on time was for me.
Because he was on that island time.
Well, but, I've got this husband who's like, when it's time to leave, it's 3 o'clock, he's getting up and going to the bathroom. And I was like, dude, like 3 o'clock departure means you've done.
Oh, and don't forget the fitness campaign. Remember when Michelle made it her mission to get kids to eat things like quinoa at school? Because if there's one thing kids love, it's soggy lentils in plastic trays. Parents everywhere had to deal with kids protesting lunch because of Michelle's no-cookie rule. It's like she saw happy children and thought, let's fix that with Brussels sprouts. Kids were trading kale chips like illegal snacks behind the playground. Now she wants to talk about balance. Please, she turned school cafeterias into health food prisons. Jesse Waters still hasn't forgiven her for banning pizza in 2011 and probably never will. He still has flashbacks of sad cucumber slices and hummus that tasted like
Little people with their own sense of everything, they mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? There's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure, certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the 2 daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so bad.
And then came the juice cleanse. Of course, Michelle's wellness empire wouldn't be complete without a juice line, because nothing says for the people like charging $20 for a bottle of liquid kale with a side of superiority. You can practically taste the elitism. It's organic, fair trade, and filled with vague good vibes. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly is sitting there going, wait, is she running for president or applying for a job at Goop? Just when you think Michelle might slow down, boom, another podcast, another series, another I'm not doing this for attention production. She says she wants to empower women, which now seems to mean talking at them for 45 minutes about how hard success is, while being very, very successful.
Michelle Obama's been making her rounds this week, talking about her new book, The Light We Carry. And in one of her interviews, she talks about dealing with the press. Watch.
There'd be some question that would be what I'd call a knucklehead question. And I'd practice my true response. Sometimes just playing it out loud helps to get it out. But then when you put your first gut reaction out there for the world to see and hear, and then you look at it for a minute and you go, if I start with my rage and anger, all I will do is play out my rage and anger, but I won't be able to affect any change. And what I urge young people to do is be rageful, you and own it, but have a plan.
Self-censorship is a big part of politics, and now she has this new...
The worst part, she acts like this all happened naturally, like she just accidentally became a global superstar while picking tomatoes in the White House garden. But Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters aren't fooled. Michelle's not a surprise hit. She's the boss of planned popularity, the queen of authentic marketing. She can cry on command, then sell that moment on Amazon. And let's not even get into how she subtly jabs anyone who doesn't agree with her. She's turned when they go low, we go high into a way to throw shade with a smile and a pearl necklace. Every inspirational speech feels like 1,000 strategists, squeezed in a hidden political message right between a yoga quote and a metaphor about growth.
Because her husband doesn't really like people, doesn't know how to talk to him, and doesn't even really care.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you gotta stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much
2
time
days
to
check up. Now Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the boys? And the flip side of my husband, right? Because he golfs, and golfing takes as long as the first session of our, it takes 5 hours to golf. He'll golf with his buddies, come back and be like, how's X? He's good. He's like, what'd y'all talk about? Nothing.
Hate to break it to Michelle, but guys don't get deep on the course. Normally, when someone rags on their spouse, there's usually a little love. Like, Jimmy, he never listens, but he looks cute in his suit. But that wasn't...
But don't worry, she's not running for office, of course not. She's just rebranding constantly, launching new nonprofits, and casually offering national solutions with dramatic lighting and multiple outfit changes. Because she's so done with politics. And Jesse Waters is totally launching a tofu brand. Meanwhile, Michelle's fans cheer at every speech like it's the Super Bowl. She could read a grocery list in poetry form and they'd call it genius. But Megyn Kelly's not buying the Michelle-branded kale juice. She's side-eyeing every polished line, every emotional moment, every perfectly placed tear.
Not the vaccine that's causing the autism. Why don't you look at that? They'll never let that secret out.
Good luck with that one.
That may be the key behind all the defunding everything. It's just like, let's just blow it up. And then the old
we can't let them find this stuff out.
Old men can keep marrying 20-year-olds.
Exactly.
It's like, I'll give you the baby you want.
What? What is this? This is just some grievance fest again with two of the most privileged women on earth who are really bitter against men because now we're trying to say it's old male sperm that causes autism. I don't even understand it, but it's typical leftist women.
Michelle says she's tired. Oh, honey, we're tired. Tired of the preaching. Tired of the motivational speeches that somehow always end in passive-aggressive digs at anyone who disagrees. Tired of the media acting like Michelle invented motherhood, spinach, and grace. Tired of pretending we're not watching a campaign ad disguised as self-care. Even her Instagram looks like a mood board for rich person relatability. One minute she's hugging kids. The next she's in a black and white, glamour shot about resilience. It's always the same message. Here I am being totally normal, in a $5,000 outfit next to my private chef. And through it all, Jessie and Megyn keep roasting, not out of hate, but because they can't believe we're still pretending this isn't all a very well-lit performance.
Michelle put down some ground rules for the interview. After the biggest election in the history of the country, her words, not mine, Michelle said, "Don't ask me about politics." Michelle's only allowed to be asked about her new book, her new Netflix show, and her new fruit juice brand. Not very maha. Michelle's got to push product. It's the new golden age, remember? It's almost like she's saying life goes on. The whole democracy is on the line was just a...
Michelle says she doesn't miss the White House, but her media schedule tells a different story. You don't leave the game and then sell popcorn at every stadium. You don't hate politics while trying to reshape American culture with every sponsored speech. She's not some shy hero. She's a full-time brand manager for herself. So no, Michelle, this isn't just about helping people. It's about running the emotional economy, one heartfelt story, one low-carb snack, and one fancy podcast at a time. And Megyn and Jessie, they're not fooled. They're just handing out popcorn while the rest of us finally admit the truth. This isn't about hope and change anymore. It's about hustle, and the hustle never sleeps.